sure people could figure out. We're talking about Mickey 17 and Moon, and
It's Clone Week on
It's Clone Week on Yelling About Movies. Exactly.
It's Outer Space Clone Week.
The thing, okay, I think they approach it in different. Both these films approach it in different ways. It's compare and contrast. In Moon, I think that Duncan Jones was so enamored with the concept of a clone that I think that it makes the center kind of dull because he's like, oh, he's a clone and they're not real. And it's like, spend a lot of time kind of dealing with this effect. While I think an average kind of sophisticated science fiction film watcher, I don't know about you, I loaded this up instantly. It's like, oh, he's a clone. Now what? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I'll disagree because I
will disagree, but you keep going.
Yeah, I
still
your
fucking
point.
love this movie.
But Mickey 17 is a little different because it's like there's we're mixing them together.
Your objections do not apply to that film
No,
because
they don't. That's a different.
it sounds like this was a little thin for you, like not enough there. That thing is fucking overstuffed.
It's way overstuffed. It's got that Bong Joon Ho. What's his name? That the guy?
Yeah.
All his films are overstuffed.
I can't believe this is the same guy that made Parasite.
It's the guy, but it's the guy who made Snowpiercer. So
it's probably got more in common with Snowpiercer than anything else.
It's overstuffed. It's got crazy plutocrats in it, and all his weird details.
There are people in that movie who are. I think I said this about Elysium once. Like Mark Ruffalo is delivering lines like he lost a bet.
Yeah, no fun. Actually, the thing is with Mark Ruffalo,
I think Pattinson is not. I mean, part of what makes Moon work so well for me. First off, Moon. I think Moon is a glorious example where it's like the best indie sci-fi is like there's an idea. I do think that there's an idea there, and I think there was an interesting idea, and it is surrounded in an almost obsessive level of attention to detail to the environment, which I know was limited based on how low the budget was for this movie. And then you also got Sam Rockwell, who just, I mean, is like a fucking wet dog. Like you just feel bad for him and you want to like bring him in and like make him better. Like he's so, the two versions of the character are both sympathetic in different ways. Like one guy who ends up dying, I mean, he's just broken because he's been at it for a lot longer. Where the new guy who just showed up is like kind of like a little prickly, but he's still sympathetic, and he also feels sympathy for the other Sam.
Do you think the earlier Sam,
they say, well, I'm in the same boat. They say that to each other, even as they're fighting, about stuff.
You think the earlier Sam is like this? Is kind of goes into Blade Runner a little bit, like a planned obsolescence thing, and when
absolutely
he just starts falling apart because
it's a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year contract, not because you get to go home, but because you're going to wear out. Right. So they're going to say, get into this little capsule where you go to sleep, and which again, Mickey 17, it's an incinerator.
It's the same thing, almost the same thing, except it's a little more usefully used here. But it's also Sam Rockwell, a great casting choice because he is so
fucking good in this.
He is so vulnerable and goofy, and it's like I keep thinking of Guy Fleegman from Galaxy Quest. It's like you get the feeling he doesn't actually belong in this movie. That works really well.
He's not a sci-fi kind of guy.
No, he's not. Although he's in Galaxy Quest.
Tap into like he can do stuff. Like he can do everything.
Right. Yeah.
But what I thought, like it's sort of like with The Island. Like when The Island, the Michael Bay The Island with Ewan and ScarJo.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
I do too. But like at the time, I was like, wow, man, like they basically let the cat out of the bag on the whole, their clones a third of the way in the movie, where anybody else would have waited until much later.
Right.
That this is also about a third of the way into the movie where you find out, okay, so this is the deal.
Right.
But I do find that their exploration of, well, how many of us are there? And then they get their way into the basement and they see it just stretches for infinity, and the enormity of, yeah, this is fucked up and you two never had a chance.
Yeah, right.
And watching them take that horrible situation, well, at least one of us has got to get out of here. My only note on this movie, really, is I don't think we needed the last couple of lines. Like, I would have been much happier if they'd cut it as he's just heading back. I don't need to know that he gets in front of Congress. Like, what? I mean,
yeah. Like that whole, like, that's the bad Body Snatchers ending.
That's just
we're bringing in the Marines.
It's a little bit of hand holding.
I don't know that
and
I
also
don't think it adds anything.
Yeah,
one of you got away. That's
it.
Great. We don't know what's going to happen because you're not.
I kind of get it because he does two things. He right before he leaves, he gets the idea to redirect one of the harvesters to take out the antenna, so that the third clone that we've met in this thing, who's just waking up, will have access to live radio to the Earth, so he'll know what's going on down there.
Yeah, they won't be able to block it.
So in that sense, I feel it's valuable that the one that got home is causing a big ruckus because he's going to hear about it and immediately figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Although I have a question about how this particular thing is set up. Now, in the opening bit, they're talking about how the Earth is being saved by all this tritium they're bringing over from the far side of the moon. And packaging up, same with, and Earth has this unlimited support, free prime energy that's actually saving lives everywhere. And why would whatever company or consortium is doing this leave it to one stupid clone to keep everything moving? It makes, if it's so valuable to the entirety of humanity, you should have a whole crew there.
Because the story depends on this guy being alone.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That part kind of threw me. It's like.
It's just unobtainium.
It's actually kind of like it's Weyland-Yutani thinking, and that company is basically Weyland-Yutani. It's just doing a massive sci-fi stuff and fucking up.
Lunar Industries, and what's the other name?
It starts with S. It's a Sarang or something like that. It's
Sarang.
Yeah, Sarang. That's an Indonesian word.
Sounds Indonesian.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. They took the clue. And you've got what's his name behind you? You got. Old smiley face there.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, who wasn't bad
at the time. Good choice.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's just cut the other part out. Yeah, he did pretty good. He wasn't HAL 9000, but he was. They should have given HAL 9000 emojis. That really helped.
He was not HAL 9000. Yeah, if HAL 9000 had a smiley face, had emojis. If HAL had emojis, but he did. His motivations were suspect. Until they weren't. It was very interestingly written in that regard. That you don't know if he's working for the corporation or he's working for Sam. Until he reaches over his shoulder and helps him type the password in.
That's right.
Yeah, again, I mean, you know what this movie really did was made me very sad because
I forgot how fucking sad it is.
Well, the thing is,
it's tragic.
Like to your point, John. Like just like you, like whoa, this soundtrack and like the credits, like we're only halfway through the credits, and I'm like, who did the soundtrack? Like the soundtrack set such a vibe, instantly, and that vibe kind of carries through the entire movie, and I really dug that.
I went and bought that on iTunes the night I got home from the movie.
That's fucking the dude from Pop Will Eat Itself, Clint Poppy, but who's done a lot of really good things.
Mansell.
Yeah, but this and District 9 came out the same year.
Oh yeah.
And this made me really like fucking what the hell happened to Duncan Jones and the dude that did District 9, because neither one of them has done anything anywhere close to as good since.
Well, Duncan Jones doesn't actually have to work.
No, I understand he's a Nepo baby, but like, and I don't really remember source code all that much. Like I remember,
it's fun.
Was it the guy's name Blomkamp or something like that? The guy from South
Neil Blomkamp.
Blomkamp.
He tried. He put that movie with Matt Damon out there, and that wasn't too bad.
No, it's terrible. Come on.
Okay, we disagree on that one.
He's tried to make a
source code's better than that.
An alien movie. He ended up making Duncan Jones made Warcraft the movie.
Wow.
Like just a string of shit. Like both of
these. There was another one.
Chappie
was that him? Chappie?
Chappie is Blomkamp.
Okay, I'm a secret Chappie fan. So
no, I know it's got its moments, but he also they just did that Gran Turismo, which no one wants to fucking see. I just like shit, man. Like this was such a high point for me for like two guys that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Really solid sci-fi. Like, whoa, this checks like all the boxes. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. And it turns out not everybody is a Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like these guys did it first in some ways, and that immersive thing. Although I always thought that these sets for Moon looked a bit like Look what we found in storage, the old Space 1999 sets. Let's just put them up there.
Oh, disagree. Did hard disagree.
I don't know. They had that kind of like generic
great.
English design science fiction look to them. And
well, it's Gavin Rothery is the guy, and if you go to his
website, you see those hatchways. We're in we're in a British sci-fi film. There's a keyway. It's like it's always the same thing.
Yeah. I get it. But I mean, he is good at that thing, and if you dig it, I mean, it's very well executed.
Well, they built it all. Then they actually went and they covered it all with dirt, which is kind of
even the ladder that he goes up into that little module where where the controls are. Yeah. The ladder even has that 45-degree cut on the top of the ladder. It's like they were really consistent.
I mean, behind him, that could be 2001, or that could be like
sure.
Alien or something like that.
It's like slightly futuristic industrial.
There's a certain
there's a lot of Alien in here.
British sci-fi art direction takes a certain direction. That's it. And this is all over that film. I'm not criticizing it per se, but I'm just saying it was
for the budget. It's a pretty good looking film, including the scenes outside.
The effects were really good.
Yeah,
really
they're pretty good.
Yeah, there was no better or worse than Ad Astra. If you ever seen that,
and it's models. It's all modeled.
Yeah.
It's 2009.
Really, is all the miniatures going?
Yeah.
Just slow it down. Fine. Who cares, right?
Did you guys catch Matt Berry?
Yes.
Matt Berry's in this. Who's the other guy in that scene?
I don't know. He's so blurry in those.
Benedict Wong from
the. That's right. Benedict Wong and Matt Berry. They're one of my favorite character actors of that particular era.
Yes.
The guy who taught you how to grift from Community.
I love that.
I didn't know who he was in 2009, but now it's like, that's fucking Matt Berry.
I love this movie. I've got the Blu-ray downstairs. I really wish Duncan Jones would have made other better movies, but I have like I said, I just got almost no notes. I think that for this kind of reminded me of that movie we watched with it was like that Pedro Pascal. It was like a sci-fi, like little indie sci-fi thing that we watched a couple years ago.
They're Prospect,
yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, that same kind of level, yeah.
Super cheap, but this just like they executed so many of the things I give a shit about, like production value, tone.
Yeah.
Like this movie's it's not winking at me. It's not overtly goofy where it doesn't need to be. Sam Rockwell's really fucking good in it.
I just think the gimmick plays out really early, and after that you have nothing left to talk about.
Okay, let's get back to that because I'm gonna just vehemently disagree.
Okay,
and say that that's really one of the main things that this movie is about is what it means to be a clone, and I just love that it culminates in a super emotional scene where he finally gets outside the jam zone and gets on that little phone thing.
Yeah. But the thing is, but you know that once the
daughter. Let me finish though. The daughter that he thought was an infant is now like 15 years old.
Yeah,
and it's like, Dad, someone's asking about Mom. It's like,
and then you hear his voice.
Yeah, but
and he's like, that's enough. And he hangs up. That is like the core. Emotionally, that's the core of the movie.
This could be me being jaded, but the thing is, once you find out these guys are clones, everything's tragic. Because these guys aren't real human beings; they're clones. So
they have no rights.
Yeah, no rights. And he talks to the kid, and it's not really their kid, and it's like it's the whole thing. It's just oh hey, how's it going? It's just the same. So, I want you to know the gimmick. You just let the gimmick play out. That's all there is.
Yeah, but I think the strength is that you still give a fuck, and that's mostly because Rockwell makes you give a fuck.
Well, he puts in a good performance. He makes you feel things. I'll give you that. But like I said, I want something out of my sci-fi, which Mickey 17 gives you.
See, I think this is the better of the two films.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of a perfect little nugget.
It was a nice experiment. He was like, I think that felt like the director was more fascinated with the cloning idea than we were. It's like
you were,
and I was, then the audience was. I'm a sophisticated audience member.
I want to point out.
The first time I saw this movie, I don't know that I think until the reveal, I didn't know what was going on.
Neither did I. Till he finds the body.
Early, and the thing is, at what point?
I know, but like it still was like 20, 25 minutes in, and for those 20, 25 minutes, it's
a mystery.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
think narratively it becomes obvious. It's like, okay, only one's going to make it out, and probably the newest one, and then
once the reveal happens.
Exactly. So that's
clearly, the first clone is on the decline. He's on the way out, and to some extent, that explains their radical personality differences. He's very meek and submissive and sort of schlubby, and the other guy's kind of aggressive and snarky. And it's like that's because he feels good. He feels good.
That's because his tank is all 100%. The other guy's
his tank's on 100%. The other guy's like near on fumes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I loved that, and I don't think the same thing is true of Mickey 17. In Mickey 17, you get radical differences between Mickey 17 and Mickey 18, and it's never really addressed why. It's like you guys have the same memories. You're both basically fresh out of the printer.
I love the printer. The printer thing was so much fun.
Are we transitioning to that?
Yeah, we're dovetailing right into it.
Not yet. Not the.
You got more to say?
If I may, I got something more to say.
Well, we could actually do the thumbs if you want.
Because as you know, I did a film about clones that's called New.
Well, it's not really clones, but keep going.
It really is, because it starts off, you think it's about two people that are resurrected from cryonic suspension, but how did they do it? They made they made new bodies from their DNA, and they injected memories into them.
Okay.
So, and that's the big scene in the movie, is when the lady breaks it to them, when Noelle breaks it to him, it's like, it's always going to be a little different. You died.
Right.
You know, and you're not the same guy. And she talks about brain chemistry and hormones and levels and stuff like that. I did a lot of research when I was writing that script and read a lot about cloning. And my favorite little story, and I got to do a quick anecdote for you guys. My favorite thing that I learned when I was doing this research is this story of, they clone farm animals, right?
Right.
Because they find ones that have great breeding stock or whatever. Well, there's a story I read where this farmer had a bull that was a little bit on the small side, but it was very friendly. It was like a dog. Right. And so he didn't treat it like all the other cattle. It was his pet, and it would follow him around as he did his chores and sleep on the kitchen floor or whatever. I don't know. But they had this bull, and he loved it so much that when it died, he had it cloned.
Right.
And ultimately, he had to put that new clone, he had to put it out to pasture because it gored him twice. It was so rambunctious and aggressive. It was not... It was the same cow, but it was not the same cow.
Well, there you go. It's just like
John, you and I talked about this before you started writing your movie.
Yeah, I remember telling you the story. That's right.
Well, mind you, it's like your brain, brains, probably animal brains as well as people brains, are basically receptors for quantum information, and so it's always going to be scrambled because we don't have that kind of fine control over what our personalities are going to be. That's why we get all this variety in personalities, and it makes total sense to me. Yeah, you can bred for docility. You might get it, but you also get a couple animals that are just crazy. But also cloning. Who knows what the fuck happens? You're not gonna get the exact same thing. Right. It's like you're gonna get that random dice throw.
If it's off by 0.5%, that's going to be material somewhere.
Yeah.
It may not be immediate, but you'll notice it eventually.
I wonder if people who get their dogs cloned go through this too.
I don't know. It'd be cool if it actually worked, because I could clone my dog indefinitely. It'd be so much fun. I love my dog so much. She's like
oh, me too. I understand. I understand why people do it.
Hi, Ella, number 14. How you doing today? It's like, oh. All right, just quick. Go to the next one. What do you think?
I mean, I really, really, really like this movie.
I enjoyed all the details. I think I have a few problems with it, but it is.
I wish Duncan had made a movie as good ever again, but he hasn't.
Yeah, well, again,
he's coming.
He's sitting on top of a giant pile of money in London somewhere. He's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bowie did have. I think there's quite a few kids that had to get spread around.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe Scott.
Hello.
You could tell me why I don't think this movie works at all.
Why you don't think it works at all?
I don't think this movie works. I think this movie is a hot mess. It has a lot of scenes that I like to watch, but at the end, I'm like, tonally, it's all over the fucking place. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure. I mean, again, Pattison chose to. It's such a. When you compare Pattison's version of these two to Rockwell's,
right?
This is like a fucking Warner Brothers cartoon.
It is. He's awfully silly.
And I don't know. I mean, it's like, wow, this movie is a lot.
I know.
And I just sort of sat there at the end of it going like, something's not working. I don't know where this movie went off the rail. But
with Bong Joon,
it never was on the rails.
Well, Bong Joon-ho is like, he's always challenged you to buy the premise, buy the movie. And his premises are way the fuck out there.
But I didn't think this premise was that.
You have to accept that there's a guy living in a basement in a mansion in Seoul somewhere. And he's been hiding out, like in Parasite. Or you have to buy the fact that the world's frozen except for one freaking train. It goes round and round and round. I mean, these concepts. If I was a producer and say pitch it to me, I'm like, well, yeah, your mind,
right?
But so he does and
that's where I break, Scott. Is like Snowpiercer. I was just like, no. No, that doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. But this, I'm like, okay, it's the whole thing's kind of a cartoon.
Well, he took it on an interstellar colonization mission, which kind of like frees you from these rules,
frees you from constraints.
Yeah, constraints. But nonetheless, you still have the same set of characters. You have the elites on top, with Mark Ruffalo and his fake teeth, and oh my God, he worked those dentures so well. Yeah. He was so much fun to watch.
Again,
and wasn't that Toni Collette, right?
Him and Jodie Foster from Elysium can like go and like.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. It was fun to watch.
But in Elysium, I'm just like, why is Jodie Foster there? What a waste. Whereas this one, it's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? This is an interesting choice. Like someone said, yeah, do that.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it. I think she was fine.
But it's almost slapstick, this movie.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, so is Snowpiercer.
But so is what's the one about the sea monster?
Well, the host, which I really like.
The host, yeah.
But as also, I always described it as, well, it's Royal Tenenbaums meets Godzilla.
Kind of something like that, yeah. That makes sense.
Again, I mean, I guess tonally, yes, that movie was also a lot. But it held together better for me than this one.
I think the social satire, the whole, the elitists living in their paneled,
the billionaires who are financing everything, basically, yeah.
It's silly and doesn't really work.
But you know what? It's like I'm watching parallels. It's like, oh, Elon would do this.
Sure, I get it. I get it. I mean, he was basically doing a Trump impersonation.
Yeah. Let me back up and tell you that my favorite part of the film is actually the aliens. I think that as a sci-fi guy, you want aliens you've never seen before, who don't act like Earth animals, that don't look like Earth animals, who have their own structural thing that we can't figure out initially. So that was so much fun.
Pretty satisfying.
That actually brought the film home for me. It's like,
and that's why the whole movie to me worked, because the ending worked. It's like I actually cared what was going to happen to these things.
I cared more about these things.
The little ones are really cute.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like that. Like, oh, hold them up there like that. And the big ones are big and woolly, and they're kind of like, once they know what's going on with the human beings, they're kind of cool.
What did the miners say in that Star Trek episode? Once the little guys are all over the place, once you get used to them, they're kind of cute.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing, exactly. But once they kind of figured each other out, and this is like just all sorts of classic sci-fi. It's like us trying to figure out how they live, and they're trying to figure out how we live, and the whole 9 yards, and that made it fun. And
their motivations, which takes Patterson forever. We're all like, they saved you, you idiot, and then half an hour later, he's like, they saved me.
Yeah, we're waiting for him to catch up, which is
shit.
That was no fun.
But it's a good plot point, nevertheless. Speaking of things that don't work, man, if I had a red pen, the whole loan shark angle back on Earth and all that shit, none of that works. And who cares?
It was even needed.
Take it out. The movie would have been a half an hour shorter, and who cares?
Also, I like they touched on the fact that there was a definitely rationing going on in terms of food.
Yeah,
and that was kind of nice. Like if you don't fuck up, you get a lot of food. If you don't, that poor Mickey was stuck, never getting enough to eat at any time. And that was a big motivator for him in the second act. It's like trying to get some dinner going, man.
When he sat down at that table, that was pretty great.
Yeah, it was really
shoveling it in.
So you guys like this movie?
Ultimately, yes.
It won me over. Yeah. Despite
it being kind of a hot mess, I
guess yes. I rolled out of it going, well, that was a hot fucking mess, and I'm not entirely sure where I am. I maybe these guys will like convince me that
clarify
here, because it really was like just maybe it's just I don't know whether I think definitely casting.
Well, he's good. Yes,
there were some choices made with the leads, like Ruffalo and Patterson specifically, were given free rein. Yeah, sure, go, do that.
Yep.
And like just wild swings in tone. The entire thing. I mean, it looked really good.
Yeah, it did. I mentioned that to Sheila at one point, because with all the silliness going on, you kind of almost glaze over that, but it's like, damn, this thing looks great. The interiors, the ships, the vehicles, everything.
The way it's shot is fantastic. But well, again, it goes on to Snowpiercer again. Starts out as like this kind of like the revolutionary story. Then it becomes like an adventure. And at one point, all the characters stop and have sushi. And it's like, and so it's like and that's what he does. He kind of brings in a lot of different random elements, and this has the same thing. Yeah. At one point, these guys are like down in the hold eating crap food, and all of a sudden they're dining on fantastic stuff, and there's chandeliers from the ceilings and all this stuff like that.
We've seen enough Bong Joon movies now that we're starting to see themes and repeat motifs. And
it also just tells me how grounded.
Parasite was not this goofy.
No, Parasite was very grounded.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was in the real world. It was nothing fantastic really about it. You could explain everything that happens in that film.
And that shows you how good of a filmmaker he is when he chooses to be disciplined.
That's right. It was most disciplined. I mean, that plot of that thing was over. It's like, God damn, that was tight. Yeah. I wouldn't cut a single second out of that film. It was perfect.
No, and that was I think it was like my favorite movie that year. And again, that's what's like.
And also won best foreign and best film.
Best foreign and best picture.
I didn't see Okta.
I didn't see there.
So no one's seen Okta. So I don't know how to compare whether that is also goofy.
Thematically, it sounds pretty close though, because it's about a exploitation of animals, and this was also to some extent about exploitation of animals because they started eating those aliens.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah. I still don't know where.
I know. I also think that this is the picture behind you of Patterson and kind of and the other Patterson, I think. But it kind of just tells me that I'd wish he had honed his performances a little bit. I think he was a little bit wild.
Yep. Yeah, like that.
I'll
say the first half hour where you're just kind of getting the world, and then like all of the bazillion Groundhog Day movies we've seen, just this movie kind of expanded beyond what it is like to keep reliving the same thing over and over. Like, no, the whole concept of the expendable, throw the expendable in there. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, right. And then, it's great because it's like.
And he specifically signed up for this stuff.
No, that's the difference between
that shit was great.
Yeah, but the difference between the moon and this is that the clone thing is like, oh, it's a big surprise. He's a clone. He's not a real person. This one's like, no, this clone. This is a legal definition of this guy is. He's an expendable guy. We have a printer for him. It's like
he signed a contract knowing full well
he's supposed to die.
The whole idea that you've got people sitting back there going, just throw him in there. If he fucking explodes, we'll just
exactly. That's
print him out again.
Like that shit was. I actually thought, like the first half hour, I'm sitting there going, the reviews in this movie were terrible. I don't know what this movie's fucking great. And then it was just like all of a sudden it's like whoo off and like it just suddenly like went into La La Land.
Yeah, you know what? I
for another hour and a half.
This movie picks up an idea and thinks about it for about 4 minutes, and then it drops it and runs off in another direction. I mean, the whole thing with the girlfriend and which one she liked and stuff is like
that was kind of fun.
And it was fun, but it was like, oh, now we're doing something else now.
Now we're rom-com. Okay, let's go ahead and go for it. I think there's one thing they could have done that made it more interesting. They had one clone guy for this entire ship. I would like to see like 7 or 8 of them, like a Janelle 17 or a Bob 44 or whatever.
Oh, I get you.
They can all go out, clones go out together and try to do something and all get blown up. And
like it's a whole department.
The clone department.
Department.
Okay, guys, let's go. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. Right. But that's the only thing I could change about the whole thing. As I said, I was, except for like maybe Pattinson's performance, I was pretty satisfied with it.
My expectations were so low because the reviews on this thing were so toxic.
Same. Yeah,
really? Were they?
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's bad. So yeah, my expectations were low, and at first I was like, these people are crazy, and now I'm like, well, yeah, no, I think this is a misfire, very interesting misfire.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it, it didn't like compared to Parasite. I mean, forget it. And yes, I have watched Snowpiercer the movie, which remains way not as good as the TV show. Which had a lot more time to think about how things kind of connect together. The Snowpiercer TV show is actually pretty great.
I heard it.
But the Host and Parasite kind of remain for me like the sort of...
Well, Parasite's just an astounding film. This was a nice attempt. This was a good sci-fi idea. And there's like a couple different things. The clone thing is interesting. The alien's interesting. The whole adventure and how the expedition's organized is interesting. There's a lot if you're a sci-fi
The
fan,
3D printer when it comes out and you like
when they forget to put the table to catch him and he's
that was hilarious.
When he comes out and then goes back a little bit and then comes out like when you
there's a lot of like workers fucking up in this.
Well, it's exactly the way like a laser printer works or an
exactly.
No, in
if
general,
you forget to pull the tray out, the paper falls on the ground.
No, there's lots of the thing is that in the background. There's lots of characters, a lot of people in the ship who have jobs and don't do them very well. Which is interesting. It's like there's a lot of fuck ups going on.
It's a kind of a shipload of flunkies, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really weird.
A lot of Brazil in this movie too.
Yeah, big Brazil. The hierarchy top down thing.
Yeah, Chris. Here's a what if. Suppose this movie had come out in 1980. When did Brazil come out?
85.
Suppose you had seen this, unprepared, walked into the theater and watched this in 1985. You might love it. You might love it as much as you love Brazil.
No, I think you're right because the future doesn't work very well.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, this is yet another. The future doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of craven or stupid. And
this has got the overly rich art direction. And it's got and it's got like a lot of comedy in it, which is actually also true for Brazil. And it's also, I think the only difference is that the aliens are probably some English guys in big costumes. Because there's no CG back then. That's the
guys in suits.
Terry Gilliam would have done it with stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a couple of great shots though. Those wide shots where like all the little aliens are like clumping together to look like they're going to fake out the humans. Like I can't dunk on this movie too hard because there are so many little moments like that. They're like, that's clever. That's
a real thought behind this thing. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm probably like 3/4.
All right. Well, I'm almost all the way to the top on this one because it's like
70%.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Maybe not a fully erect.
Well, yeah, same here. Like 11:30, 11:45.
I am consuming media differently. The older I get, the more forgiving I am. And if somebody takes big swings and does something interesting and original, it's like that gives them a lot of credit in my book.
Bingo.